questions for growers. And when you think back 2 or 3 years, life seemed to be pretty damn easy. And we all say it's just getting harder and harder. We're working harder on the farm, there are more things being thrown at us, there's more compliance being thrown at us, there's more cost, and what happens? There's less profit. The biosecurity nightmares of the psyllid have continued to impact tomato, potato and tamarillo industries. It has been estimated that the psyllid has cost the potato industry a conservative $60 million over the last 12 months. The cost is still increasing, the damage to the crops and the plants is continuing. In November, the discovery of PSA bacteria in kiwifruit rocked the kiwifruit industry, attracted huge profile in the media to this huge threat facing our $1 billion star kiwifruit industry. Growers are justifiably very concerned about their own welfare and livelihood as we speak. If the disease is not able to be managed economically, then the industry strategy, and the very industry structures that we know will all be in significant risk. But I'm confident that with all the resources that are being thrown and focused on the problem, that an answer will be found, and the industry will manage on with PSA. There is no doubt some growers will be lost to the industry, as time stops for no one and doesn't stop for a disease. It is important to remember that no crop in horticulture has been totally wiped out to disease or pest anywhere globally. So why would this be any different? There's always an answer to a problem, and if anyone can find the solution, New Zealand growers, with the industry will and cooperation, will get there. It's a great example of cooperation, exactly what the strategy talks about for growth. The strategy is now being used for defence. Horticulture New Zealand has been supporting the industry groups led by Zespri, New Zealand Kiwifruit Growers Incorporated and KVH, Kiwifruit Vine Health, as they deal with these issues and interface to the government for their support during that process. We have also had a number of growers significantly affected by the Christchurch earthquakes. The harvest of late season crops have disrupted by rain, and woe betide, the New Zealand dollar has reached record levels. Mid-80s. Who would have ever believed mid-80s? And it's still continuing to go up. Now I hear the dreaded word parity. What's happening with this? Exporters are being denied their hard-earned export earnings. There's money being left on the table. Huge money. Enormous money. What can we do about it? As a backdrop to this on-farm struggle, Horticulture New Zealand faced the first rejection by growers of the fruit levy increase in the last annual meeting this time last year, which was intended to replace the funding provided by the Fruit Growers Charitable Trust. To maintain the equity that the principles of Horticulture New Zealand were founded upon, it also meant reducing the levy income the organisation receives from fruit and from vegetable growers, and establishing the special vegetable fund. The result of all this and that decision was that the organisation was going to have an income less about $500,000. $500,000 out of $2.7 million total funding. This was serious, and so the board immediately made significant changes in response to this, beginning with a review of the budgeted income and expenditure. One staff member was reluctantly made redundant, and we had reduced hours for many others. Our activity was refocused on key issues, and any slack in the system was removed. But despite achieving a $680,000 saving in expenditure, we still sustained a loss of close to $300,000 for the year. This is a huge sum, a very significant sum, and demonstrates that an industry organisation and an industry structure like ours have contractual obligations that limit the organisation's ability to quickly shed cost and resource to meet sudden changes of income. However, we are confident that we have made the right changes, and we will be turning the situation around in the current year 2011 and 2012. We'll be monitoring our financial position very closely, as the income to the organisation closely mirrors that of the value of our major product groups. Therefore, if there is a significant change via the PSA or CILID or those sort of areas of threat, then we need to move very quickly to readjust the set of our sales as well. The board has agreed to sharpen its focus on a number of following strategic areas, particularly resource management, water and other environmental issues, biosecurity, seasonal labour, education and training and leadership. And we see those as the key roles of Horticulture New Zealand and interfacing those with the government. This year's annual report that you will have received is an example of cost reduction. It's a combination of the two previous publications, one being our yearbook, which highlighted our activities, and the annual report itself. This is available at the conference stand out in the foyer, so please go and pick one of those up, and as I remind you, also pick up another copy of the strategy. I'm also pleased and proud to announce that the magazines have undergone a complete makeover, previously The Grower and more recently The Orchardist. The first of new look, one that we will be releasing here at the conference. The magazines have been revamped under the professional guidance and experienced eye of our editor, Sue Grant-Mackey, who now edits both of our magazines. This means we're achieving some significant synergies in aligning the magazines so that they better reflect the work that the organisation does for growers. In closing, I would like I'm delighted to say that democracy is still well alive in Horticulture New Zealand, as the board welcomes Julian Rain from Nelson to the board of directors after an election process in the last 2 months. Julian joins the board this afternoon at the annual general meeting for a 3-year term, and he will have the opportunity to address this forum later this morning. He brings a wealth of experience as a grower and a director of a number of companies who have significant investments in horticulture. Tony Ivicevic and Rue Collin were re-elected to the board, and congratulations to those 3 gentlemen. I also like to wish and thank in particular Terry Olsen, who made himself available but was unsuccessful at this time, and I'd like to encourage others to think about standing in the future. I need to say a thank you, and I'm pleased to do so, for Peter Scott, who retired and stepped down from the board after 6 years. 6 inaugural years of Horticulture New Zealand is no mean feat. But Peter's enthusiasm and commitment, particularly to the areas of water and water resources, will be sorely missed. He has worked hard for growers, and he can be very proud of the achievements that he has done on your behalf. So we now go into the year 2011 and 12, facing the biggest challenge yet. A Hort New Zealand levy referendum for all growers to be held at the end of 2012. Growers will have the opportunity and can be assured that they will have the ample opportunity for input into this proposal before it is put to a vote in November of next year. We'll be asking for your comment, and we'll be listening for your comment, and we'll be taking notice of it, because we want to make sure that the set of the sales of Horticulture New Zealand is agreeable and supported by growers. Our industry is changing, it is growing, and together we will increase the value of horticulture. In turn, we will also increase the wealth of our growers and improve the health of New Zealanders. I hope you enjoy this conference day. I hope you enjoy the speakers that we have lined up for you, and thank you for your support. I now have much pleasure in welcoming Simon Bridges to the podium to address you on behalf of the Honourable David Carter. Simon is the member for Tauranga for the National Party. He's the member of Maori Affairs Committee, Deputy Chairperson, Justice and Electoral Committee, the member for the Auckland Governance Legislation Committee. He's a young MP, joined in June 2008 he was elected. Until then, and before that, he was Senior Crown Prosecutor in the District and High Courts of New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simon Bridges.